Good morning. Welcome to lesson 47, Course in Miracles. We're doing the first 50 lessons out of 365. You can see how much we've done there, and that's what's left to do, but we've only got a few more to go in this 50 lesson introduction. And for anyone who's perhaps just watching this video, because I did actually have somebody write to me and say, oh, I saw a lesson, whatever it was that they watched. Do you do any other lessons? And yes, but in this particular case, we're just doing the first 50, and you've only got to look on my wall and they're there. So wherever you happen to be watching this video, you can either go to my YouTube channel, which is Awaken Now, or to my Facebook page, Dave Phare, P-H-A-R-E, Dave Phare, and you'll find these first 50 lessons, or these 47 lessons as of today. So we'll get into it. God is the strength in which I trust. And somebody wrote to me the other day too, and now let me think, who was it? Doesn't matter. But somebody wrote to me and said, oh, I love the background where you are, the bushland and whatever. And you can see this little sort of hillock mountain which has the trees on. Can you see the clouds there? Hang on. There we go. If I tip the camera, I think the camera is reactive to light, so it blocks out a lot of the background sometimes. But that's Mount Blackwood in Mackay in Queensland, Australia. So if you look up Google Maps, you'll see where we are. We're only about 10 kilometres from Mount Blackwood here. And yes, we're out in the bush, away from the madding crowd. All right, so lesson 47, God is the strength in which I trust. If you are trusting your own strength, you have every reason to be apprehensive, anxious, and fearful. What can you predict or control? Gold, isn't it? It's gold. What is there in you that can be counted on? What would give you the ability to be aware of all the facets of any problem and to resolve them in such a way that only good can come of it? And not just good, only good for everybody. What is there in you that gives you the recognition of the right solution and the guarantee that it will be accomplished? Of yourself, you can do none of these things. To believe that you can is to put your trust where trust is unwarranted, and to justify fear, anxiety, depression, anger, and sorrow. And to justify, right? It's a deliberate attempt to justify fear, anger, and misery and sorrow. Depression, anger, and sorrow. All of that. Who can put his faith in weakness and feel safe? Yet who can put his faith in strength and feel weak? And one of the things, just before I go on, I think I mentioned this in one of the other videos, that in prayer, I always like to come at prayer as if I'm the liar. There's no point in saying, God, I've been asking for this and nothing's happening. It's because the asking is not true. Right? The asking has to be for the whole, has to come from the heart, a selfless prayer. Right? The integrity of that prayer is utmost. If you're sitting around asking to win the lotto, or, forget it, that doesn't happen. But prayer for the healing of the mind. Right now, when you ask for the prayer for the healing of the mind, you might find, well, I've been asking and asking, but nothing's happening. And I've had this a couple of times in my earlier years with the course. It's because you're not truly asking. It's like it just said there, to justify. All our words are an attempt to justify our denial. So even when I ask in prayer, my words are tainted with ego. Right? My words are formed in that conscious base where ego is the realm of consciousness, or consciousness is the realm of the ego, put it that way. Right? So always come at it as the liar. I'm the one who's in denial of God. God's not in denial of me. So it just makes it easier. It's like, all right, well, I've been asking, nothing's happening. There's no shift, no change, no whatever. Therefore, my asking must only be lip service. And you have to get in and feel it. Right, now one of the things we do here at Avatar is occasionally we put on these little workshops to get people to feel rather than think. Right, it's fine to think, nothing wrong with your thoughts. I don't mean anything, but you've been using them so far, so we'll continue to use them for a little while longer. But to feel things, you know, and everybody has these suppressed past emotional packages, and in the idea that I'm going to find my blocks, that push down emotions and all those things, you know, remember that the emotions are only the manifestation of the thought, right? The effect of the thought. But in getting in touch with that, right? If I was to tell you, all right, I want you to think of somebody that really pushes your buttons, right? You can think of them conceptually, but you've probably pushed the pain factor of it deep down, or maybe not. Maybe it's still raw, you know. Feel that, get in touch with that, and allow that energy, allow that to be the passion and the integrity with which you pray, right? And it's like if you have to use an individual circumstance, person, situation, event, whatever, do that. But ultimately, I guess, as it happened in my case, it was the world in general, myself, the world, everything was my So, I'm getting a battery warning, so I better stop talking and crack-a-lack. But always come at it from the liar. You know, I'm the liar. I'm the one here that needs a miracle. Therefore, I'm not being true to myself. Okay? God is your safety in every circumstance. His voice speaks for him in all situations and in every aspect of all situations, telling you exactly what to do to call upon his strength and his protection. There are no exceptions because God has no exceptions, and the voice which speaks for him thinks as he does. Today we will try to reach past your own weakness to the source of real strength. 4 5-minute practice periods are necessary today, and longer and more frequent ones are urged. Close your eyes and begin as usual by repeating today's idea. God is the strength in which I trust. Then spend a minute or two in searching for situations in your life which you have invested with fear, dismissing each one by telling yourself, God is the strength in which I trust. Now try to slip past all concerns related to your own sense of inadequacy. It is obvious that that any situation that causes you concern is associated with feelings of inadequacy, since otherwise you would believe that you could deal with the situation successfully. It is not by trusting yourself that you will gain confidence, but the strength of God in you is successful in all things. The recognition of your own frailty, of your own bullshit, is a necessary step in the correction of your errors, but it is hardly a sufficient one in giving you the confidence which you need and to which you are entitled. You must also gain an awareness that your confidence in your real strength is fully justified in every respect and in all circumstances. This is a journey of faith. You have to, at some point, take that leap of faith. In the latter phase of the practice period, try to reach down into the mind to a place of real safety. You will recognize that you have reached it if you feel a deep peace, however briefly. Let go all the trivial things that churn and bubble on the surface of your mind and reach down and below them to the kingdom of heaven. Down and below them to the kingdom of heaven. There is a place in you where there is perfect peace. There is a place in you where nothing is impossible. There is a place in you where the strength of God abides. Repeat the idea for today often. Use it as your answer to any disturbance. Remember that peace is your right because you are giving your trust to the strength of God. Lovely. And tomorrow, lesson 48, there is nothing to fear. So go back and read that for yourselves and then apply it. And thanks to everybody too who's writing in. And I had a few people writing in asking me about the website. When will it be up? It should be up by Christmas. There'll be a free PDF download of this book, the white edition, which you can get in America. I think this request from Barnes & Noble and Amazon.com in UK, EU. You can get it from Ad Libris AB, Gardener's Books. In Australia, ALS Library Services, Boffin Bookshop, Campion. You can get it from Lightning Source Direct, or from Ingram Wholesale, Peter Pal Library, and there's other places as well. But Amazon generally is the best place. If you're in Australia, you have to go through Amazon Australia and set up a little account. It's a bit of a pain in the ass, but that's in 2 parts, the white edition, part A and part B. A is the text, B is the workbook and teacher's manual. Very, very different from this book in the text, in that in this book, all the input that was put into it originally when it was first published by the hand of man has been taken out. This is the purest version of A Course in Miracles you will find on the marketplace today. This is the sparkly version. This will also be on the website. This is the pre-runner for the white edition. This is the one that voided the copyright. You'll find that on the website too, all about it. It has all the stuff that was edited out of the text put back in. It's a bit funny. And this will be on the website too, Traveler's Guide to the Third Dimension. If you would like to be a distributor for these little books, please inbox me. I'm happy to send you 100, 1,000, whatever you want. These are just an introduction basically to A Course in Miracles. You can see in there the reviews of the first 50 lessons, which we will do at the end of the 50 lessons. And there's a few other little bits in there that are sort of broadacre kind of stuff that will introduce you to the idea of A Course in Miracles. So, and there will be heaps of other stuff on there too. The website's going to be called findingme.something. I can never remember. .org, .net, .com. And hopefully up by Christmas. So, all right, I love you. And thanks to everyone for following along and giving me the opportunity to remind myself of the principles of my own particular path and everything through being able to offer this course to you. So I guarantee you it's as helpful to me as it is to anybody else. All right, take it easy. See you tomorrow.